Lisa! Hey, you didn't see a woman in a white shirt?
Have you ever had an affair?
No, I haven't had an affair.
The story kicks off with Will Spann, a real estate developer, and his wife, Lisa, on their way to Barry and Anna, Lisa's parents' house, because she needs space from Will to know if she still wants to stay married to him, mainly because she went rogue with another guy. 15 minutes away from getting to her parents' house,
Gosh, almost on empty.
Will tells her they need to stop at a gas station to refuel before they continue the rest of the journey. When they get there, Will, not ready to give up on his wife, suggests they fill up the car and just ride back home or off to the sunset if she wants. But Lisa refuses, stating she already has her mind made up,
I'm gonna grab some water.
and goes into the gas station's convenience store to buy a bottle of water while Will gets gas for the car. Lisa enters the store and goes straight to the restroom to fix her hair, only to receive a text from Clint, her side piece, asking why she is ignoring him. She ignores the text, leaves the restroom to go grab water and pay Oscar, the cashier. On her way out, she hears Knuckles, a guy who works for her parents, call her, and she goes to meet him. Will, on the other hand, has finished filling up the car and is waiting for her to return. But after waiting for a minute and seeing no sign of her, he enters the store to look for her, but does not find her there. He immediately asks Oscar if he saw her, but Oscar says he does not know, so he goes outside to check the surroundings and even calls her on the phone, but she does not pick up. Panic sets in as Will starts shouting her name around the area
Lisa!
and calling her number repeatedly. He then goes back to the store again to confirm if Oscar is sure she does not see her, but Oscar does not give him a positive answer.
If you see her, will you let her know to stay here?
He returns outside and begins to ask random people if they helped her see his wife, but they don't know anything about her whereabouts. For the third time, he enters the convenience store again to ask Oscar for the address of the gas station so he can call the cops. After getting the address, he goes outside to make a call to the police to alert them about the incident. And when the call goes through,
Yeah, I can't find my wife. I stopped.
Detective Roy, an officer, tells him to calm down and assures him that he will come to meet him at the gas station very soon. But Will is too restless that minutes after the call, he gets into his car and drives off to her parents' house to see if she is there. On getting there, Barry and Anna, who are already expecting them, ask him about Lisa's whereabouts, and he breaks the news of her disappearance to them. Barry and Anna begin to question Will about whether they had any fight before her disappearance,
No, Barry, we didn't have a fight.
and he immediately assures them that nothing like that happened, and proceeds to ask if anybody else knows she will be visiting them. But Barry takes offense at the question because he thinks Will is blaming Lisa's disappearance on them. The two men soon get into a serious argument about the issue, and Anna has to step in to break it off. After the two men come to a common ground, Will informs them of his return to the gas station because the cops are going to meet him there, and they should let him know if they eventually hear from her.
No, we're gonna call the cops right now.
So he returns to the gas station and waits in his car for the cops to arrive. In the meantime, he searches for her belongings, sees her purse and laptop, and begins to think about the time she asked him for a break a few days back, remembering how broken he was about the statement.
You don't know what's wrong. You don't communicate to me.
However, his thoughts are cut short by Detective Roy, who has just arrived to meet with him, and after confirming each other's identity, he asks him for any update on his wife. He then explains how he drove to her parents' house to see if she was there, but did not meet her there. Detective Roy is not happy to hear this, because he thinks Lisa may have returned to the station while he was at her parents'. But Will explains he is not familiar with the protocols for a missing wife, and that he is just acting on instinct. So Detective Roy asks him for the personal belongings she left behind,
Yeah, I found her purse in the car.
Okay.
and he hands them to him. After collecting the laptop, they head inside the convenience store to ask Oscar for the CCTV footage of his store, and according to him, the camera has been broken for a couple of weeks now, and the person who is supposed to fix it has refused to show face. Defeated, Detective Roy tells Will to follow him to the station so he can issue an alert for Lisa, and also use the opportunity to get Will's statement, but Will insists on staying in case Lisa later shows up. So he agrees and leaves with her laptop, hoping to find some clues on it. After Detective Roy's departure, Will begins to survey the surroundings and sees that a camera is working. So he goes back to meet Oscar and demand its footage. Oscar acts clueless at first, but after getting a taste of Will's bad side, he quickly surrenders and shows him where it is. Will leaves with the footage and heads straight to the police station to show Detective Roy. When he gets there, a surprised Detective Roy collects it from him, takes it to Mike, their IT guy, to check it out. And that is when they find out she was talking to a strange guy. After stepping out of the convenience store,
Who's that man? I don't know who that is.
and even accompanied him to his car. But they don't see what happens after, because a truck blocked the camera, and after it left, they don't see the car again. Immediately, Detective Roy informs one of his teammates to track down Oscar since the incident happened in his surroundings, while Will takes a picture of the strange guy. Detective Roy then tells Will to follow him to a separate room for questioning, and he agrees.
Have a seat.
During the questioning, Detective Roy asks about
your
Will's marriage, and he finds out that Lisa got with another guy a few months back. He begins to suspect that Will probably took out Lisa for betraying him like that, and is just acting now to cover up his crime, especially since she has life insurance. Will is, however, pissed at these allegations and begins to defend himself. Detective Roy, even though he is skeptical about his actions, frees him to leave. So Detective Roy gets back on the road, drives back to Barry and Anna's house,
Sorry?
and asks if
hear
they
anything?
found any updates. They give him the same old story, and he pulls out his phone to show them the picture of the strange guy he got from the CCTV footage to see if they can identify him, and they confirm it is Knuckles, their handyman. Also recognizes the car in the picture and tells Will where she last saw it.
Where is Morrison's?
So Will immediately heads to the location. On the way to the place, he calls Detective Roy to ask for an update, and he tells him they are still on it. Detective Roy, in return, asks for his whereabouts, and he lies that he is just driving in circles to see if he can catch a glimpse of her. When he gets to the location, he takes a crowbar from the trunk of his car and uses it to break into the apartment, where he finds Knuckles frantically packing his clothes and immediately demands Lisa's whereabouts. However, he does not give him the answer he wants at first. But after giving him the beating of his life, he confesses that he left her with Frank, his friend, at his trailer, where he produces illicit drugs and promises to take him there if he stops dealing with him like a punching bag. On hearing this, he releases his hold on him, enters his apartment to look for tape, and after finding it, uses it to tape his hands and mouth, ignoring his plea, and dumps him in the trunk of his car. After that, he begins his journey to Frank's trailer, only to be stopped by a patrol officer for exceeding the speed limit. He parks his car,
How you doing today, sir?
and the cop tells him to come out so he can inspect his vehicle. Sensing his cover is about to be blown, he escapes into the woods, and the patrol officer immediately calls for backup. The officer then checks the trunk of his car to understand the reason behind his action and sees Knuckles tied up. In the meantime, Detective Roy visits Anna and Barry at their home to ask for more information regarding Clint, because after cracking Lisa's laptop at his office, he discovers that Clint has been texting her, and they confirm to him that their relationship was only a one-time thing, and it had nothing to do with Will, proving his initial analogy about Will knowing anything about Lisa's disappearance wrong. Will, on the other hand, still on the run, bumps into Frank Scoon on the way, and he is questioned by him about his intentions in the area. Will lies to him that he is looking for Frank because he wants to do some business with him, and he is from Knuckles, who introduced them together. But Frank Scoon does not believe him.
Call him. Give me a second.
and decides to call Frank, but the service is poor. Will, tired of his actions, puts on his best acting skills and manipulates him into thinking he is leaving because he does not believe him. Frank's goon immediately believes his act and directs him to where Frank is. He then continues his journey, sneaks into Frank's hideout, and watches him with anger as he is addressing some of his men. As this is going on, Roy, who has now returned to his office, receives a call from the patrol officer concerning Will's recent antics and proceeds to meet him at the venue. By this time, Will has already gained full entry into Frank's place. He continues to sneak around to get close to Frank, and during the process, he moves closer to a car, only to discover that one of Frank's men is inside it. He immediately takes him out before he blows his cover and ruins his plan for him. Just as he finishes the guy off, a truck arrives, and he looks up to see who it is, only to discover it is Oscar, who walks out to join the other men. After seeing this, he grabs the weapons that were in the custody of the now lifeless guy and moves out to enter the main trailer. Moments after, he finally gains entrance into Frank's main trailer and sees another one of his men, who immediately surrenders when he sees him holding a gun, but he is so blinded by rage that he knocks him out. While Will is taking matters into his hands, Detective Roy meets with the patrol officer who is still with Will's car and asks for some alone time with Knuckles. He sees him sitting inside the car, looking all battered, and begins to question his involvement with Lisa, mentioning that he abducted her. These questions make Knuckles angry, and he begins to accuse him of asking the wrong questions, especially since he is the one beaten up and thrown into the trunk of a car. Detective Roy tells him calmly to cooperate with him so that the case does not have to reach the higher-ups, but he refuses to oblige.
How did you get her into your car?
Detective Roy then decides to change tactics and asks him how he got Lisa to follow him to his car. Apparently, he ran into her at the gas station and tricked her into following him to his car under the guise of dropping off an invoice for her parents, since she is on her way there anyway, only to pull a fast one and threaten her to get inside his car. But instead of telling the truth, he angrily replies that it is because they are familiar with each other, as he is her parents' handyman. Will, on the other hand, is still on his lone mission, and has finally caught up with Frank, who was initially working on some illicit drugs with Larry, his second in command.
Towards your hands.
Pointing his gun at them, he begins to question them about the whereabouts of Lisa, but they tell him they have no idea what he is talking about. He continues to plead with them, assuring them that he is not going to involve any authorities because he just wants his wife, but they continue to deny knowing anything about what he is talking about. Frustrated, he tells them to open the container behind them for confirmation. And this creates a distraction, as Larry grabs a gun to shoot, making it easier for Larry to escape. Larry, however, gets hit while Will continues to survey the area to look for Frank, firing shots if he hears any movement with the hope of getting him. During the process, he mistakenly starts a fire, but he is unaware of it and later finds Frank's lifeless body as a result of the earlier shooting. Disappointed that his search has reached a dead end, he returns outside and begins to reminisce about the good times he shared with Lisa. This renews his strength, and he begins to frantically search the area with the hope that he sees her somewhere, and that is when he runs into Oscar. He asks him for Lisa, and he demands that he give him money first. Will, who is now getting exhausted, tells him to prove that he knows where she is, and he immediately brings out her phone as evidence, leaving Will stunned. After he regains himself, he tells him he will give him the money and asks him to first see his wife, but he refuses, stating he wants money first. Still in the process of bargaining, the trailer behind Oscar explodes as a result of the fire Will mistakenly started earlier. Meanwhile, Detective Roy is tired of Knuckles' shenanigans. With time running out, he steps out of protocol and begins to rough handle him. He immediately explains that he was just randomly talking to Frank a few weeks back about how this girl he knows is returning to town soon, and that she is married to a rich guy, so he suggests they abduct her for money because he knows her husband is loaded and will want her back. So when he ran into her at the gas station, he saw it as a perfect opportunity and decided to take her to Frank, only for Frank to see them and be pissed at him for bringing her because he knew he would have been caught on camera. So he made him dig a hole behind his house and told him to put her in it. As he was digging the hole, he knew Frank was going to put him in it too, so he ran away, leaving her behind. After hearing this, Detective Roy leaves him in the car and moves to Frank's place, and he is shocked to see it has been reduced to flames as firefighters work to quench the fire. He walks up to Will, shades him for lying to him about driving in circles, and tells him he found Knuckles in his trunk. Resigned, he asks if he is under arrest, but he tells me to stay put while he begins to survey the area for holes. He finally finds one covered and opens it only to find out it is empty. Will, on the other hand, hears a banging sound from where he was and immediately runs towards the direction it is coming from, calling out Lisa's name. He finally finds an abandoned wooden closet in the woods, opens it, and sees her inside. He immediately hugs her deeply.
Get me out of here, please.
And carries her out of the place to meet Detective Roy. 1 hour later, Detective Roy meets Will, standing outside at Barry and Anna's house to give him the update on the whole incident. He informs him that Knuckles has agreed to sign the confession out of guilt, even though he still blames Frank for everything, and Oscar only roped himself in because he believed he would get money out of it. He also tells him his team has identified the bodies, and he discovers that not all of them lost their lives through the explosion, as some of them have gunshot wounds, but he promises to leave him out of it. The two men bid each other farewell, and after Detective Roy leaves, Lisa comes out and tells him to follow her in, which makes him very happy. With a smile on their faces, they enter the house holding each other's hands. The end. Thank you for sticking to the end of my video. Please do me the biggest favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video.